Awesome. So let us take a look at those phase three projects. Presentation same as always. And yeah, just show us what you got, talk us through it. We will start off with Wes and the Crystal Collection. And I'll make sure that we can share screen. There we go. Great. Go ahead and share and let's see what you got.
Did you ask me to go just now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. My VPN decided to disconnect and reconnect right as you started talking, so I'm just gonna leave that disconnected for now. Um, and yeah, thank you for starting off with me. So let me start sharing. I guess I'll just share this desktop. Um, or should I just, I'll just share my code window. I don't need to show anything else, I don't think. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my VS Code? See a README file there? All right, cool. So
Can you
my
bump the
project,
font size just a little bit?
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, my project is called Spirit Stones, and you can see in the intro, it's a CLI app that manages a hypothetical spiritual centers collection of gemstones and crystals that spiritual health practitioners use with the members of the center. Uh, so let me just get the environment going. I can go through really quick uh, what I set out to do when I built the project. So I wanted to be able to add gemstones to the center's collection of gemstones, remove them, update them, search for them, display information about one or all of the gemstones in a list, and then had a table called usages. I was thinking of usage sessions, usage. I just ended up going with usages, uh, but using which practitioner is using which crystal with which member, and to be able to add and update and delete those usage sessions, the same with members and practitioners, and to view lists of all of them. So I did a really detailed README just to go through, the files that are the primary components of it. So went through my model structure that has 4 classes, the gemstone class, practitioner class, member class, and the usage class. And then a little description of what tables that created, and then a little description of the functional modules. So with no further ado, let's launch the app. I'm gonna clean, actually I don't need to go into library, get a clean terminal window here. And then I would do on CLI.py to run the CLI script. That brings up this welcome message. Welcome to Spirit Stones, the gemstone management application, and the list of all the commands that we can do. So just as an example, if you want to see the full list of gemstones, then I'm going to do the list gemstones command. And so see, I've got 29 in the database. So it shows a unique ID for each, the name of the stone, the color of the stone, and the properties of the stone. And you can, I can show the database file as well, that as well. Drag it over here so you can see more of it. So there's the same list in database format, and the availability, of course, is just a Boolean. And that updates, so all the ones that say 0 for not available have current usage sessions going on. So in the usages table, you see a start date and an end date for each session. And if the end date is null, then the value will be unavailable when you search for that stone. So I can just kind of go through some of the functionality real quick to see what else you can do. So you can see the whole list of gemstones. If you wanted to search for a particular gemstone, you can search by ID, by color, by gemstone name, or by availability. Search gemstones or gemstone. Nope, it's gemstone. Okay, so there we go. Search by ID, name, color, properties down at the bottom there. So let's say I just want one that does healing, and I'll get this list. I guess it's most of them. Let's try maybe get a clean. Do by how about purification? And there'll be fewer of those. So brings up those two gemstones. Oh, sorry, they're not available. If I did want to update, oh, actually, it looks like amethyst is available. So I could say update usage. And this is where I think I might, given more time, I might redo a little bit of it. So, ID of the usage session to update. So I actually need to look at the usages table and see. There we go, usages table. Again, so that is ID number 2. So I can follow gemstone ID number 2 is there. It's usage session number 1. Okay, so I would do that. See, then it says I need to put in order to update the session, I actually have to put in the new ID of the practitioner. It's going to be the same practitioner. I'll be the same member, 222. I guess I made it easy. And then I'll put in today's date. Oops, it's got to be 2023. Put in today's date in the proper format. 7, 2, 1. Okay. So usage ID has been updated. So now you see that. I guess I had an update. Oh, wait. Oh, no. See, I did it wrong. It's actually this. That's the one I needed to update. Usage number 7 to make it available. So 222. Type in under pressure. Okay, so now that's updated. So you'll see that now has an end date. And so now if I search again for, was it purification? You'll see, okay, amethyst is now available. So I could check it out. I could create a new usage session with a particular practitioner and a member. And just so you can see what the practitioners are all about, to show the whole list of practitioners. And there they are. I've got 8 of them in the database right now, so it has their name and their specialization. So probably want to pick one. I mean, I guess they all work in energy and crystals and stuff, but I just decided to make this extra weird and new agey and hippie-ish. It's fun. I was kind of torn between doing this or like a Lord of the Rings orc weapons inventory checkout with different orc names and different weapons and different battles they might take them to. But I don't know. This seemed like a little bit easier to create. Although the orc weapons inventory would have been fun too. Anyway, is there any other functionality that you'd like to see? So I can add a gemstone. Guess I might as well while we're here. Come over here. Got a couple teed up, so I could just go. add one of these to the database. So let's add smoky quartz with an S instead of a Z. It's brownish to black, depending on the stone. Let's say it does grounding, manifesting of dreams. How about that? All right. All right, so now it's been added with ID 30. So if I look at my gemstones table, or if I were to list all the gemstones again, then you would see, there it is, smoky quartz with an S. And I could edit and update that gemstone as well. Actually, might as well. How about I just do the update gemstone command, number 30, spell it right. There we go, easy as pie. Color. Yeah, I guess one thing that I might do differently, as I've gone through and tested the functionality, it's like maybe not have to repeat all this typing. Maybe have a way to, manifesting, have a way just to update one particular attribute or detail. But other than that, you're working at a spiritual center and you're in charge of managing the gemstones and who's using them, then I think this would work. So that's pretty much it. I'm happy to show any other of this functionality if anyone would like to see it. Otherwise, you can put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Nice. Is there a reason you decided to add these commands via the command line options instead of making it a menu in the app?
Not necessarily. I know I used the click library. And this was just a way, after looking it up, that it was relatively simple once I set it up, that this commands menu kind of automatically, or list of commands automatically appears when you load the program. I think if I were doing a GUI, then there would be a menu to click on and see all these commands and click on them. Yeah, there are probably a lot of weird things that I did just because it is a CLI app, and I've never tried building one like this before, or not since Commodore 64 days, since watching my brother. So yeah, that's probably why. I mean, it's a great suggestion now that I hear it.
Save a lot of typing as well.
Yeah.
Can we see the code where you are,
Yep.
where it takes the command and then decides what to do with which command?
Yeah, absolutely. So the CLI, this obviously just imports all the commands from the different modules. So you wanted to see gemstone. So there's the add gemstone command and the remove gemstone. Update it and view. I didn't show that one, but just it would just, instead of listing all of them, it would show just the one gemstone.
Oh, so it's using the decorators to set up each of those commands.
Yep.
Cool.
Correct.
Nice.
Correct. Yep. And then I add them to a list of commands for each module, or to an array, and then that gets imported into the CLI.
Sweet. That's cool. Anyone have questions or comments? All right. Love it. Looks great.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see who's up next. Travis with some tennis stuff, I think we're looking at.
let's share just this bit. Do we see it now? All right. Yes, here's my tennis database application. I noticed in a lot of the examples they tried they successfully created some little graphic. So I tried to do that as well. And no matter what I did, I was like, it looks like Thor's hammer or something instead. So I felt the need to clarify that it's a tennis racket and you just need to be okay with the fact that it's a tennis racket. But yeah, so upon load, we get just like this little intro, and then a list of all the kind of commands and prompts that you can run. So I have three models that map to 3 tables, and you can search each of those. So you can search for okay, yeah. So you can run 3 different searches here. You can search by a player name and see their tournament results for this year. You can search a tournament name and see kind of the players that achieved the semifinals in that tournament or farther. So semifinal, final, or the winner. Or you can search like a round of the tournament and find who was eliminated in that round. So similarly in here, you could type, the winner and just get a list of the winners. We have the ability to add new items to each of the tables, tournament, player, or result. We have an update here for the ranking, since that's the only thing here that would actually in the real world be changing. I guess, they could change their name, but they typically don't. And then you can just like see a list of, basically see those tables, the players, the tournaments, or in this case, the different rounds or results someone could have. And that functions more as like, so that like what to search in number 3. But let's go through and do a couple of these. So number 1, enter the player you want to search for. I also added this where if you pretty much like almost at every juncture, if you hit X, it'll just bring you back to the main menu. If you want to just stop doing what you were thinking you wanted to do, I can go here. You can type in a name. I can see, Carlos at these 3 tournaments. He didn't play. He reached the semis, and then he was the winner of Wimbledon. And then after each search, it just brings you again right back to the main menu, so that I don't have to like exit and come back or do anything like that. I can go and search by tournament. One thing that if I had more time and or knowledge that I would add is maybe some sort of like fuzzy search, right? Because it has to be spelled exactly right, capitalized exactly right. It would be nice to be able to just type Carlos, or don't not have to worry about capitalizing first and last name. But here, right, I search French Open and I can see some finishes here, just kind of the player data. So it goes the top 4 men and the top 4 women. And then either they made it to the semis, they won, or they made it to the final. And if you're listed as final, it means you went there, but you lost the final. And then something else I might have, would have liked to add would be maybe some more deterministic filtering on just how this shows up. Right now, it kind of defaults to, filters by male then female, and then it ranks filters by their player ranking. I think it'd be a little cleaner if it was like winner, final, and then the 2 semis. But this is what we got for now. Well, let's go down here to number 3. I can search a round of, so the tournament. So I can type quarters. And these are all the players for each of the 3 tournaments in the database that reached the quarterfinals, but it was the last round they played, so they ultimately lost that match. I can also add a new tournament. So type that, it'll give you this little prompt, and I added some like sleepers in here because when it was just like popping up immediately, you got lost, or I got lost a little bit. I'm like, oh, where'd the stuff go? So it kind of gives you, in most cases, 3 seconds to read the message and then ask you for the thingy that it wants. So I can add the tournament. The tournaments here, they only have one property, which is the name. It's gonna sleep a bit, and then it's gonna say thank you for adding that, bring me back to the menu. So now if I go to my list of tournaments, right, by typing T, we can see that 4th one I just added is right there. I can also hit P and see all of my players. And then let's say I want to add a new player, very similar to adding a tournament, but player has a few other properties that go along with it. So let's say I want to add, I have my list here, Andy Murray. We'll pause, give him a gender. In the tennis world, you're kind of either a man or a woman. That's how they do. So, maybe in another decade or two, there'll be some more complexity to that part of my table. But for now, it's fairly straightforward. And then add his ranking. Gonna generate that, make it feel like it's working, even though it actually does it pretty much immediately. Thanks for adding Andy Murray to the players database. And now if I look at players again, we can see Andy down there at the bottom. And then let's go through these next couple here. So I can add a new result. And the result edition, this asks for IDs, which is why it's pretty much the reason why I have these other lists of just everything, so that you can find that ID pretty easily. But let's say, okay, I'm just going to do Carlos here at the top because I know his result for this other tournament. So we'll do ID 1 is Carlos. ID for the tournament, I know the one I just added is Indian Wells. That it was ID 4. And then this is kind of confusing, but you got to read both lines here. But add the final result. He was the winner of that tournament. And then now if I go and search Carlos again, I should see, boom, there he is at the bottom, my new result that was added. And last but not least, we have the ability to update the ranking of a player. If I scroll up back here, I'll use this test thing here. I set my test player to be ranked number 150. But let's say our test player just had a really killer couple of months and just won a bunch of tournaments, and his ranking has increased. I can say, okay, he went from 150, now he's 77. And then I probably should put my my main menu again here, but if I hit P again, we should see test is now ranked 77. And the last thing here, if I just search R, this just gives me a list of all the rounds, right? So that I know what I could possibly search in some of those other searches. And that's everything. I added some delete functionality that I created it because while I was testing things, I accidentally committed a bunch of tests, so I needed to delete them. But I ended up commenting it out just because I was like, well, in the real world, like assuming this was something that a bunch of people were engaging with, I wouldn't want everyone who has access to it to just be able to delete willy-nilly. So I kind of took that approach, but as the owner and the administrator of the app, I could comment that delete stuff back in and remove things that had been added. And then, I can hit X and exit my app.
Nice.
That's all I got.
That's really great. Fully functional. Yeah, you talked a little about adding users. What part of this did you struggle with the most?
The beginning. So like once I got to the part of writing the code and the the actual joining of the tables and the searching stuff like that, I didn't really have trouble with. It was really just understanding the like migrations and getting the virtual environment thing still kind of throws me. And getting the database set up. That was a lot of, let's see, do I have that? That was a lot of like manual work because I wanted a lot to be in there. But let me share this other screen. This might go a little slower. Let's see if that will ever load while I'm screen sharing. But I guess as far as the code bit, what took the longest was just like joining the tables. And then obviously like my seed file was pretty large. Let's see if I can, my computer gets ready to launch itself into outer space here. Come on, you can do it. Well, anyways, there was a bunch of rows. So like I think I have 42 players seated originally. I wanted top 20 men, top 20 ranked women, but then the women's bracket, there's like a bunch of dark horses that scooted up and made it to the finals of things. And so I wanted them in there. So I threw an extra couple of the female players. And then there was originally just three tournaments, right? I just added a fourth here, but then I needed for each of those 42 players, they each had some result in 3 tournaments. So it was 126 results that I seeded. And by the time I got to about 50 or 60 of them, I had my hotkeys down, like what I needed to copy, what I could copy and paste, and it went fairly quick, but getting those first like 50 in took a while. And then we'll pop back into helpers.
If you put all those guys in by hand?
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. But I did that. I think I did that on Monday, and I was honest. I was so stressed and like worried about the week. It was like nice to just do something that was brainless. Like I wrote about that on one of my blogs. I'm like, it was just nice to like, get the rhythmic down of like copy, arrow, space, paste, and just like had a very rhythmic feel to it. I almost was like meditating while I was writing it. But then like here's an example of like joining the stuff. So I wanted, this is the one where you search for a player's name, and then you had to get their results, and the results table just has the IDs. So I had to kind of join in the other tables on the ID columns, and then add in some filters, and then one that was, I'm sure there was a better way to do it. If it will unfreeze, but the search by tournament result, I tried to do like create a list of like I only wanted the results to be that show up in this search to be semifinals, winner, or finals. And so I was like, well, I'll create a list that has those and check is the result in that list, and something wasn't working. So you saw it on the screen for a second there, wherever it went, just like filter, just filtered out, everything, individually, and it worked. And yeah, I like rule number 1. If it works, then I am pleased. And that's about it.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments?
Looks awesome. I really like the menu.
Thanks.
I think I might add one to mine after the fact, but it's nice the way that it kind of pops up and prompts you for a menu option like every time. Nice work.
Yeah, I added that kind of late to like bring you back to the menu, because again, like I was thinking user experience, right? It kind of just gives you select prompt, and you're like, well, where am I? What part of the app am I selecting from? And I didn't even realize there was a way to do this without a menu, because the two examples I was referencing the most had that. and it made sense to me. But yeah. Once I got to the part of like actually writing my helpers and stuff, I had a lot of fun with it, and it wasn't too tough. Just that the getting it ready to do that part.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. It looks like Ryan is all ready to go. Why don't you show us around your Pinecone text adventure?
I pressed one too many buttons before Travis was done. I apologize. But yeah, this is a text adventure, as you said. There's a bunch of stuff in here, and it wouldn't be my game if I couldn't speedrun it. So we enter into that, and it says you can start or quit, and then you press Q and you're done. That's the speed run, or not. So at each tile, you can look at where you are. You can always like throw up the menu to try to see why you keep, pressing things that it doesn't let you do. And then you can start inspecting the things. There's some things that have, or some tiles that have special things that you can do. If we go here, then there's a pine cone in this tile, and you can pick it up. And if you pick it up, then you have it now. You have a blue pine cone. It's totally normal. And you can leave that tile. You can go wherever you want on the map. So it looks like we can go either east or west. We'll go west and then north. And we'll look here, and there's a pine cone up here. And we pick that up. And then we can leave that tile. Well, we can leave the inspection of that tile. And then we can go wherever we want. We can only go south. So we go south. We go south again. This is my favorite tile. It's a field. It's great. Then go west, and it says if you have all the pine cones, you can win the game now. You can press capital P, and we did, and we win. And a lot of this is filler for ASCII art that I was going to do, but then I was on a plane, and I am very bad in crowds and confined spaces, so I did not get anything done. So yeah, that's the game as it is right now. A lot of the code, if we're looking in here, is nice and modular, so it works for as many tiles as you need, or as many pine cones that you add for things. The only thing that's hard coded right now is the number of pine cones. But yeah, that's where we are.
That's awesome. Number one. What's the format that you're storing your map in?
Yeah. If we look here, we've got a table for tiles, and the tiles all have references to themselves, where north, east, south, and west. And then you can traverse it by the keys. I forgot to add an adjacency list in there so that you could do fancy traversals, but yeah, that's how that looks. And then it also has, each tile has contents, and every contents has options for having a flag, which is the pine cones, and X, Y, Z, Z, Y, which is commented out. And then we've got special options and all that stuff.
Nice. Cool. What part of this did you find tricky, or what's the trickiest part, I guess?
I guess definitely down here there is for sure a less messy way to do this. Um, when you end up starting to copy things for every index in an array, that's it's definitely a sign that there's a better way to do it. But I couldn't really get my head around it for that part, so I just did it the same way as I did the north, south, east, west.
Nice. It's cool. Yeah, yeah, it was really great. Like Wes was saying, one of the first things I programmed was a text adventure game in 1983 or so on an Apple II. It was a giant fucking mess. And I've done several since then, and they're all it's yeah, games period are more difficult than they look, but this kind of game I think is there are a lot of there are a lot of ways to make it messy and only a few ways to make it make it less messy. And it's yeah, and doing it 50 times you'll eventually figure something out. But yeah, it's an ambitious undertaking, so it looks great. Real good.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else have questions or comments? Alrighty. Let's see who's next. Maddox, it looks like, is next. Right. Report card app, is that it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see what we got.
Cool. So, yep, I made a like student and teacher report card thing. So you select if you're a student or a teacher, then you put in your name. You go get a student's name. And then it'll just, if you're a student, it'll only pull up all of your report cards. But if you are a teacher, oops, Cheryl Scott, you can view all of the report cards you have made for students, or you can edit a specific one. So if you want to edit ID 15, for example, you could change the grade, change it to a C. Or you can edit the feedback on it to be good job. And now we check all of them again. 15 is now a C and it says good job. You can just delete one. 15. Yes or no, just to confirm. And then you can also create a new one for a student. Let me get another student's name. Course English B. Great work. And then if you check them all again, yeah, there it is. English B, great work. And then yeah, that's about it. Nice and simple.
Oh, wow. Better than what we have here. What part did you enjoy doing the most here? It looks pretty straightforward. What part
Yeah,
was
it was. I looked a lot at the previous ones that you sent. But I liked typing out all of these helpers and everything. The
Mhm.
thing that was the worst for me was just like Travis said, setting everything up at the start. I was just completely lost for like a whole like 4 hours straight trying to figure it all out. But I eventually got it all set up
Nice.
and nice. Yeah.
Are you using SQL Alchemy or just straight up the SQLite?
No, it's SQL Alchemy.
Cool. Oh yeah, there it is. Right there in front of it. Awesome. Sweet. Straight into the point.
Yeah.
I have questions or comments. Cool. Looking good. Next up, we have Juan, I think, with some health appointments related thing.
Yeah, let
Awesome.
me pull it up. Mine is actually extremely similar to Maddox's, but all right. So we start off here at this homepage, and it lets you choose whether you're an admin, doctor, or patient. And let me actually pull up the logins so that I can see. But if you choose to be an admin or a doctor, it makes you log in. So I'll choose this one, admin 001, extra secret password. And then it gives you access, and then I also added a name right here for the user, so I can add that here. And then if you're an admin, it lets you add doctors and remove doctors, or just straight up quit the program. And I think I would have wanted to add a little more here, as in like seeing a list of all the doctors and seeing a list of all the patients, but I wasn't able to get around to that. So let's see here. Enter doctor's last name, say Dre, and then Dr. Dre has been added to the database, and we can see that here. There he is. And then it will ask you, do you want to do something else? You could do yes. If you want to remove a doctor, enter doctor's last name, has been removed. Do you want to do anything else? No. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward, but I'll show you guys a little more here. For the doctor, we could choose Seuss 1904, secret password. And then as a doctor, you're able to see all appointments that you have that correlate to you. You're able to add an appointment, and you're able to view an appointment. So if we want to view our appointments, it creates a little table, and it has all the patient names and the date and time. And then if we wanted to add an appointment, enter patient's first name. I made it also so that if you have already an existing patient, so if I wanted to use Larry the Lobster, I would do Larry Lobster, and then his date of birth, so 6/23/1975. Date for appointment, let's say, is this the appointments? Yes. Let's say today, 07, is today 21st? 2023. Enter time, let's say 1 o'clock or 13 o'clock. And then appointment has been successfully added. And there it is right here, 13 o'clock. And it has the ID for the doctor that we use. And if we want to remove it, can do patient's first name, Larry Lobster, date of birth. I also made it so that all the inputs are checked. So if I were to do, say I put letters here, it makes me redo it. What's his date of birth? It is 06/23/1975. Enter date for appointment. Let me go back to the appointments. 07/1/2023. 13. And the appointment has been successfully canceled, and there it is. And if you're a patient, all you can do is just check for any upcoming appointments that you may have. So you enter your provider's last name. Let's see, Phil, Dr. Phil. And first name, SpongeBob, SquarePants. And then let me see his birthday. 05/01/1999. And then here it sees that we have one appointment for this time. Yeah, that's it. We can quit the program and yeah, that's it.
Nice, short and sweet. Pretty straightforward. Um, yeah. What parts do you feel like you struggled with here?
I feel like I was more in a time crunch because I get I'm trying to like balance school and then just having to do stuff around the house and whatnot. So I feel like I didn't have as much time as I wanted to. But the part that I struggled with was like how Travis and Maddox was saying, just at the beginning, just setting everything up, setting up my databases, making sure that the SQL lines work and just all that. That's what I was struggling. But once I got the ball rolling, then it got a lot easier.
Nice, cool. Anyone else have questions? Cool. John, if you have stuff working, looks like you're up.
All right. I see this one. I did I did a little inventory thing for Beer Depot, I guess. You see the inventories for a list of stores over here. So hold on, this bar is blocking me. Sorry. You guys all see that? Yeah, so it's got a list of stores here. I want to put about 5 on here. So let's see, we go 7-Eleven. So we see a name of the beers, the brands we have here, style of beers, and we can browse by the beer name, the beer brand, beer style. So if we wanted a certain brand, let's say we wanted Ballast Point, we can enter that. It shows a list of all the beers that we have in between all the stores. Let's say you want to do style of beard, say Craven, I don't know, some lagers. Right? Show you all the lagers that we have here on the app. But yeah, I didn't. Mine was kind of bare bones. It took me a little while to kind of wrap my head around like what a CLI was because like from what we're doing on like the code challenges and stuff, we didn't really put anything in like the terminal. So like once I started writing out the code, like oh okay, it makes sense. Like this is how like you can make this talk to that. But I mean, it's pretty much all I got.
Cool. It does the thing. Yeah. That's all we need.
Yeah, and for some reason I kept putting like two of my databases out there, but I think it's because of where I was.
Starting from,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll do that.
yeah. I think most of my stuff is similar to what Travis was having, like because I was doing these by hand. I was like, dang, there's got to be a better way, right? So like I added a randomizer to it, so like it adds like fake beers to it, but that was just to kind of fill out the list. But
Cool. If you had like another week to work on this, what would you add?
I think I'd definitely add like a way to like add beers to the supermarkets and kind of modify the data more. But yeah, it took me a while to kind of get the ball rolling on this because like I just could not wrap my head around it. And so like I went out of the way and did like I was looking through all the material on Flatiron. Didn't really make sense. So I started like going online trying to find ways, and And like I was looking at those, and I was referencing like some of the projects that you had linked. I was like, okay, this is kind of making more sense. But
Yeah, this one almost feels more like a research project than anything else. Like
yeah,
the phase three yours. Yeah, so it's an interesting one. But cool, yeah, that's the thing. So cool. Anyone else have questions or anything you want to say? Cool. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with Dominic's. Dominic has a Discord bot. Let's see what we got here.
Yes. And thank you again, Mark, for letting me present this because I think it'll be pretty cool. Okay, so here is my code, and just real fast, if I drag Discord over, can you guys see my Discord screen? No?
no.
Okay, I can.
There we go.
Okay. I can just change it when I need to show something off. So this is the file that I run to run the actual bot. That's why just everything is imported here. I'll kind of this is actually stuff that I explained. This is what starts it, but everything's imported. And so there is quite a lot of stuff that I have. So I'm just going to go over the basics, most interesting parts, and then I'll summarize the rest. The first command that I worked on was a basic dice rolling command. So it'll just get a random number between 1 and 20, but it can also go up to any number. It could be 1d4, d6, d8, d10, d12. It could be, you could roll 17 d136s, whatever number of dice with as many sides as you want. And another cool part is being able to add a modifier. I thought that was really interesting to implement because that is important. And it was cool. And then it's all printed in this nice little embed that makes it look very pretty. And then I'll show it all up at the end. And then I added a couple more like very similar commands that do the same things but differently. So this is like roll with advantage. Instead of rolling 1d20, it'll roll 2d20s, and then it'll tell you which one was higher. Same with disadvantage, it'll tell you which is lower. I added what I call the whisper roll command, so you can run the roll command in the server, but then the bot will DM you the roll. So if you're trying to hide what the answer is, maybe if a DM doesn't want everyone to know what was rolled, it'll go into your DMs. And then that's the same for advantage and disadvantage. And then someone told me to add a flip a coin because rolling 1d2 wasn't satisfying enough. So those are the dice commands. It was very fun to put that together. The most difficult part was adding the modifier, because like it still doesn't even work perfectly now. You have to you would do like 1d20 plus a number, and there can't be any spaces, and I would like there to be spaces, so I'm still working on that, or at least have the option. So yeah, those are the dice commands. The next most interesting one I think is the spell commands. This page doesn't have much text on it, but what it does do is import from all of the dictionaries that I have set up. I used to call them libraries because I thought they were called libraries. But in the dictionaries, it has the name of the spell, and then it has all of the information that it would need for every spell. This is all of the cantrips. Then there's level 1, 2, all the way up till 9. This initially took a long time. I did cantrips by hand. It took like 2 hours. I decided that was way too long. So I actually got ChatGPT to write the rest for me. I gave it the template, and then I gave it the list of, I had to do it in chunks because if you gave it too many, it would get upset. But I would just give it like 10 spells, and then I would continue to do that until I got all of them, which if anyone has to do anything similar, that worked fantastic. So that's the spell command, and then what you do would be like command spell, and then you say the spell that you want. I'll show all of these off in a second. And then it'll print again a nice embed that keeps everything nice and pretty, and then it has all the information that you would need for every spell. One problem I ran into is that Discord has a limit on characters that you can send in one message. So in one message, you can have up to 2,000 characters, and in an embed, you can have a limit of 1,024 per section. Excuse me. So that threw a wrench into some things. By putting it into an embed and splitting it up every time there is a line break or a double line break, which is only in there for formatting purposes. But if I split it up every time that is there, then in the embed it'll be like a new paragraph section, and that fixed a lot of the spells. But it's still not perfect, as I've noted, because there are some spells that have like a table, and to show the table with the proper text formatting in an appealing way, it has too many characters. So even the line break didn't fix that. So that's still a work in progress. I haven't found a workaround. It might have to wait, until Discord gives us more characters, or just for bots, or something else. But that's the only problem at the moment. And then I think the last most interesting one, it's always so hard to find. Oh yeah, the initiative tracker. So this one is really interesting, and is the most used command, because if we're playing D&D online, and again, I apologize to anyone that hasn't played D&D. A lot of these words probably don't mean much, but I'm trying to go fast so I can show it off. When you're playing D&D, if we're playing online, a lot of us use D&D Beyond, which is a website that has your character sheet on it. And then if you want to roll dice, either you roll physical dice because that's more fun, or you can roll it on the website and it does all the math for you, which is easier. And then like spell commands, if you have a spell, you oftentimes it's on your character sheet, so you can read the description there. So the command is most useful for a DM that forgot a spell or doesn't have the character sheet in front of them. But the initiative tracker is used often, and that's because we roll initiative all the time, and every time there's combat we roll initiative, and that isn't worked into the character sheets. So the way this one works is one person has to start the initiative, probably the DM. They say initiative start, and then it opens the initiative tracker, and then every player would do like Command I, the space rolled, and then they would add the number that they rolled, and then it'll add their name and the number that they rolled to the tracker. The DM can do add, so they could do initiative add the name of the creature they want to add. Maybe it's a bugbear or a mimic, and then whatever they rolled for that creature. And you have to do this individually for each monster. And then I'm going to skip down a little bit. Then you would do initiative end, and it'll print the initiative tracker. And it'll just be a box that has all the names and all the orders so that you can use it as you'd like. If someone misspelled something or you need to change something, there's the edit command, which reopens the initiative order, so you can add more names to it. If you want to remove someone, maybe a creature died, you can use remove, and then that'll just take them out. There's the rename function, which you can just select by number where they are on the list, or by the name. Actually just the name. I intend to add the feature where you can add the name or use the name instead of the number. And then you would just say what the new name is, and then it'll print a new initiative order with that renamed creature. There is a secret add function, which is useful for a DM that maybe there's a mimic in the room and they don't want to let the party know yet, so they can add it secretly. And then when the end command is ran, it'll send a second initiative order to the DM in a direct message, and then they'll have two, and that way they can add something to the initiative order without telling everyone, which is just it's useful. But at the moment it doesn't work because I improved it, so I thought, in a way where this would only work in specific servers. So because an error I ran into before was we could start initiative in one server and end it in a different server, and that's a problem if multiple people are going to use it. So I made it so it was specific to the server and the channel that you're doing this in, but then that ruined the secret add command. So that's still a work in progress. And then it prints everything in the nice pretty embed again. One issue is that for some reason, and I have no idea why this is, but when I use the remove command or the rename command and you and it's select by number, it just does the wrong one. It'll remove the wrong one or rename the wrong one. And there's no pattern to it. If I do 3, it doesn't remove 2 or 4, or if I remove 2, it doesn't remove like there's no pattern to it. It'll just remove a random one that is incorrect, and then that ruins the whole thing. So I don't know what that is, but I'm working on it. And yeah, so really quickly, I'll go through a couple extra ones. There's the action commands library and condition command library for the action and condition commands, which work very similarly to the spells. There's just a lot less information. There is a character sheet command that I'm working on using SQLite, and it'll let you import your character sheets into the Discord bot, so then you can run commands like straight from your character sheet, which would be really cool. Or just look up information, and then we could get rid of D&D Beyond because I don't like the people that run them. But that is taking a lot longer than I was hoping. There's like the helpful commands where you can just do like command help or command, and then it'll print a box that'll show you how all or explain how they all work, so that you can very quickly you start using the bot if you don't know how it works. And also like dice info and initiative info that explains the additional commands required for those commands. There's the monster commands, which is very similar to the spells command. The only problem with this one, why it's not as cool as the spells one, is because spells are very specific. They have every single spell has a name, every single spell has a description, a level, casting time, range. Every spell has all of these things. There's nothing that changes. But when it comes to monsters, some monsters have ability scores, some don't. Some have types, some don't. Some have saving throws, some have damage resistances or immunities or vulnerabilities. Some have legendary actions, and others don't. So writing the command was a lot more difficult, and the way I formatted, or the way ChatGPT formatted some things when I asked it to do stuff like the legendary commands, didn't work well with the command. And so sometimes instead of printing it, as a string, it just prints the code. And so you can see like all the curly brackets and everything, and that's a problem. So that's something that I'm working on. I just probably have to go through and manually change the dictionaries, but that sounds like not fun at all. So I just do other stuff instead. I made an NPC generator for my DM. So if we just start walking up and talking to random people, he can just generate an NPC, because we like to be annoying like that. And this one is not related to D&D at all, but I thought it was really funny. I took my friend, he goes by Pengu. Every time he sends a message, it reacts to the message with the nerd emoji. That's all it does, and I just think it's really funny. And he doesn't even play D&D with us, but it does that. And yep, that is all of the code. So now I'll switch it to Discord so I can show off kind of how they work. Did that switch? Can you see Discord over here?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So first I'll do dice. I made the I think I already explained. It's and, because D and D, and exclamation point was too common. So we do and roll. The default for roll is 1d20. This is the embed that I was talking about. So then it'll tell you what it is, and then it'll tell you the total. So then we can also do like, we can do 2d20 or 100d100 or 1000s even, and then it'll just print all of the totals and then tell you what they all add up to be. And like I said, you can also do, like I said, 17 136s. That's 27, but you get the point. Any number of dice with as many sides as you need. There's the roll A. That one rolls, it's not as pretty, but it rolls 2, and then it'll tell you the highest one. I won't go through every single one. The only other one that I'll do is whisper roll, 1d20, and then that will send it to DMs, which is useful. The other command was spell. So yeah, we'll do and spell. Let's do fireball. It prints the title, and then the embed. It's got all of the information that you could need, and then it's got the actual description, which is the most useful part. there's also a alias for most. So the alias for spell is just S. So you don't have to type spell every single time. And then I'll also show off like chromatic orb. And then this word can be capitalized. This one doesn't have to be. There's a space in the middle. You don't have to underscore anything, which is really nice. And then that's not the spell I was thinking I was pulling up. Anyways, I was gonna pull up on that at table. Well, actually real fast, because I think the table looks nice. I can't find one, of course. Okay, hopefully this spell works. There. So this is what the table will look like. But that each one of these little pieces is one bit of text. So that's why it doesn't work for certain spells. Okay, that's the spell command. And then the last one was initiative. So I'll just run through, let's say, so we can just do I because initiative is a long word. Start. We'll say I rolled a 10. And so then it'll just take my name. And then we'll do add, say, a bugbear. Who rolled an 11. And a mimic that rolled a 9. And then I can do I end. And it prints this nice little initiative order that is really easy to read. And then we just go down the list. And that's that. That's all of the most interesting ones. And that's the bot I've been working on.
Nice. That is a lot. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I have been working on it for a little longer than a week, but the improvement process took longer.
Yeah. Cool. What do you feel like the I have some answers, but I want to hear from you what the biggest sort of like mental difference or the mental hurdle you have to overcome making a Discord bot instead of like building a web page like a React thing.
Well, not being able to see it, like the changes that I make immediately was kind of difficult. There's a process of getting it up and running. Like everything my bot is currently running on a server. So if I want to see my changes immediately, there's a process of getting it on there. But then also like getting started was really difficult. Like I just ran into a lot of errors for like the first 2 days and I couldn't even get it printing hello world. So getting started was really difficult.
Yeah, I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah.
Cool. This is awesome. What other questions do folks have about this? If any. All right. I think that is us then. Cool. Great stuff all around, y'all. It's a long week of making stuff go, but well, y'all did it. So that's awesome. Cool. Take a little break. It looks like the phase 4 stuff is not published yet, so I'll go ahead and make sure that's published. If you want to take a look at stuff, feel free. If not, that is also cool. Take a little break for yourself. I'm gonna run to the feed store over lunch to get some chicken stuff, and we'll do stand out usual time. And yeah, just chill and enjoy your success. Well done all around. Anything else before we break? We'll cover all like next week stuff during stand down. Yeah, nap time for sure. Cool. Get yourself a nap, get yourself a lunch. Thanks for all the hard work, and I'll see y'all in just a little bit.